This evening we are taking Denver 7 Your Voice on the road, and that's why we have the honor of having Shannon report from 5 Points tonight. We are hearing directly from the community about what matters most here. We're having a little bit of a delay, but over the next 30 minutes we will be sharing stories that came to us as ideas from people who call this neighborhood home, and it's all part of our dedication to listen to your voices and share what makes Colorado communities special.
Now I'm at the intersection that gives 5 Points its name. Washington, 26th, 27th, and Welton. They all meet right here where I am. One of the oldest and certainly most diverse neighborhoods in Denver. It was once called, as I mentioned in that story earlier, the Harlem of the West for its rich black history and jazz scene. But gentrification and development have changed 5 Points, displacing many longtime residents and black-owned businesses.
You know, one of the most positive things that I'm proud of is that this community is moving forward collectively.
I feel and see a quiet evolution.
The culture, the vibrancy, the vibes, the food, and then most importantly, the people.
Denver had the largest Juneteenth celebration in the nation.
It still does?
They had.
Okay, thank you. It has won consistently of the largest Martin Luther King marches every year.
But when the celebratory events are over, well-known and undertold challenges have continued to stick around Denver's 5 Points neighborhood.
Today you're talking about triple net leases, you're talking about commercial entities and big money. So I don't know where the small person, I'm talking mom and pop shop person, gets a foot in the door. I know in terms of those who were not able to sustain and move past the light rail, which experienced coming right down the business district. I think the folks on Colfax are now experiencing that with the massive transit that's going from downtown into Aurora.
When you would say, who's the community that supports 5 Points? It was pretty clear. It was between 5 Points and I would say Park Hill. And I think now we're in a time where you have to redefine who community is.
When I say the word rhino, what do you think?
River North. I think of a community that's associated with 5 Points on the map. We call this 5 Points basically because the landmark is the 5 intersections that come together. And so I'm not really offended by rhino. I know the argument and how that question is fashioned, but I do know that that community was rebranded with artists and entrepreneurialism, etc.
I think of Harlem is a good example. So if you go into New York today, they're trying to call Harlem Soho. I'm like, there's already a Soho.
And I want to send this to you as well, Norman, because you can talk about rhino, and the number one image that comes up when you say rhino for most people is gentrification. Okay.
I think it just provides a solid example of here are some things that maybe we can borrow upon, but to put our spin on them to make it work for us. But I agree with you 100% in terms of like the word 5 Points itself has always been associated with some sort of negativity that could have happened anywhere remotely close to downtown.
They did it with you with Juneteenth. There was a dynamic that took place at Juneteenth at midnight in a whole nother part of town.
You're right.
And the news broadcasted it as shooting at Juneteenth.
Yeah.
So the connections that you're saying are really there, and that's a fight that we have to do to rebrand and to be on top of what 5 Points really means to us.
Norman, you said something in the past when you and I talked, and it was an analogy about 5 Points and specifically the historic corridor in a museum. Would you mind sharing that?
We often get the moniker to come down and visit, to experience something that, or to celebrate something that's happened in the past. And what I'm really adamant on is for folks to come and celebrate the folks who are contributing now.
There has not been a time where jazz was not in 5 Points. Poetry was not in 5 points. Authors and literary greats were not in 5 points.
And these three say all of those things will be a part of 5 Points' future if they can help it.
When I think about 5 points moving forward, I'm able to stand in the gap and support leadership, visionary leadership that is moving into the future and seeing things in ways that I haven't even been able to see. When I see you as a newscaster, I'm able to see, you know, the freshness of our community, covering things with the same love and care that is connected to the aspirations of community.
Well, I have to say thanks to each and every one of you, because you even helped me kind of change my thinking of what 5 points really is.
I'd ask you, Brother Jeff, I think your awareness of the greatness of this community probably predates my awareness. What advice would you give me, being in the role and the position that I am in, to help move this community forward?
I mean, I believe it's what you're doing. It's stay collaborative, continue to broaden the circle, and be visionary. And you're not locked into the past. It was Juneteenth Festival. You changed it to Juneteenth Music Festival.
And I would ask you all, how do we also bring in the talent of all the young people?
When I think about young people and I talk to them of all races and backgrounds, they don't see themselves as being owners in a neighborhood. You know, they see themselves as being renters or transitory, moving from place to place, but actually taking up roots and being a part of the fabric and being able to afford to be in place, not just a place to go and visit and eat and be entertained, but a place to where this neighborhood is my community.
A community that's deeply rooted in Denver's history, actively fighting in the present and ready to evolve.
Fascinating insight. Micah Smith, that was so good. I'm glad you did that. Micah's live here with us in 5 points.
Yeah, thank you, Shannon. My biggest takeaway is 5 points is nuance. There's a lot of layers here.
Boy, that's so true.
It is anything but a living, breathing museum. It is a living, breathing community that needs a lot of love and care and our support if we want it here for the future.
Oh, it's, as I said at the top of the show, it's my favorite neighborhood and my favorite city. So
Same.
Thank you for that.
I agree.
All
Thank
right.
you. And we want to hear from you about what's important in your community. Scan the QR code on your screen to connect with me or email me at micah.smith@denver7.com.